All right, let's just jump right into what is probably the biggest question you can possibly ask. Where did all this come from? Space, time, matter, you, me, the whole shebang. How do you get a universe just bursting with stars and galaxies from absolutely nothing? Well, today, we're going to tackle that very question.
So, where do we even begin an investigation like this? Well, this right here. This is our main piece of evidence. It comes from NASA's WMA satellite. And let me tell you, this is not just some pretty picture. This is a map. A map of the entire 13.8 billion year history of our universe, from the very first spark to this very moment.
So let's take a quick tour, shall we? Way over on the left, that's the Big Bang, the very beginning. And right after that, something wild happens, a period of just mind-bogglingly fast expansion they call inflation, all sparked by tiny quantum jitters in the fabric of reality. After a few 100 million years of cooling down, boom, the first stars switch on and light up the dark. Then gravity takes over, pulling stuff together to build the galaxies we see around us. And that brings us all the way to the far right, to us, today, in the universe that's getting even weirder because its expansion is actually speeding up, thanks to something we call dark energy.
Okay, so that map is amazing, right? It tells us what happened, but that's not our big question today. Our question is how? How did it all even start? So let's zoom all the way back to that first instant, to the birth of space and time itself.
The number you've probably heard before, 13.8 billion years ago. That's when our best model, the Big Bang Theory, says it all kicked off. But think about this. Before that moment, there was no space, there was no time as we understand them. So what was there? That's what we really need to get into.
This starting point has a name, the singularity. And here's the part that really bends your brain. This wasn't an explosion in space, like a bomb going off. No, this was the explosion of space. It was the moment that created everything. I mean, everything. The very fabric of reality, space and time itself, just popped into being.
And right there, that's the paradox. It's the one that's kept scientists and philosophers up at night for, well, forever. If time itself was born in the Big Bang, what does it even mean to ask what was there before? You can't have a before if time doesn't exist yet, right? It's a total mind bender.
So to even try and wrap our heads around this, we first have to get really clear on one little word, nothing. Because, as it turns out, nothing is, well, it's not so simple. Okay, so there are two totally different flavors of nothing, and this is super important. First, you've got the scientific nothing. Think of it as a quantum vacuum. It looks empty, but it's not. It's fizzing with energy, with little particles winking in and out of existence. It's got rules, it's got potential, it's definitely a something. Then you have philosophical nothing, and that is truly nothing. Absolute zero. No space, no time, no energy, not even the laws of physics. And honestly, most of the big debate comes down to which nothing you think the universe came from.
All right, before we get to the big theories on how it all happened, we need to talk about time itself. It's a tricky concept, so let's try a little thought experiment to make it feel a bit more real.
I mean, really think about it. What would it even mean to exist if there was no time? Our whole reality is built on a sequence of moments, one thing happening after another. So what happens if you just take that away? What's left?
Okay, stick with me on this one. Picture a rally car on a circular track, but it's moving at infinite speed. So what do you see from the stands? You'd see nothing. It wouldn't be a blur, it would just be at every single point on that track at the exact same moment. It's everywhere and nowhere all at once. Its motion would be identical to it standing perfectly still.
And that's the whole point of the analogy. Without time, without a now and a later that allows the car to be here and then there, the ideas of movement or change or anything happening at all, they just become meaningless. Existence itself kind of falls apart.
And this brings us to a pretty mind-blowing idea. The fabric of space isn't just space. It's defined by the existence of time. Because without time, nothing can change, nothing can happen. In a very real way, nothing can even exist. Time isn't just something we move through, it's the very bedrock of our reality. Okay, so now that we've got a better handle on nothing and time, let's dive into the two big schools of thought on how you actually get a universe out of all this. First up, we've got the scientific view. This is the one you'll hear from physicists like the late Stephen Hawking or Lawrence Krauss. And the core idea is pretty stunning. The universe didn't need a creator because it could have literally created itself from the laws of physics. So the way this works is that the laws of nature, gravity for instance, aren't just rules for what happens.
they actually permit creation to happen. Remember that scientific nothing, that quantum vacuum buzzing with potential? Well, a random little hiccup in there, a quantum fluctuation, could have been all it took to light the fuse for the Big Bang. The universe in this view is basically a self-starting engine.
But that leads us right into the other camp, the philosophical view. And this one doesn't really argue with the science, it just asks the next logical question. Okay, fine, but where did those laws come from?
See, the argument here is that the physicists' nothing isn't really nothing at all. It's a something. It has potential. It has rules. So the question isn't just how did the universe start, it's why do we have these specific, elegant laws that allow for a universe to exist in the first place? For people who hold this view, an orderly system like that points to, well, something more, an intelligent source, a creator, something outside the system that wrote the rulebook to begin with.
So, where do we land after all that? We've gone from the edge of the universe right back to the beginning of time itself, and we still don't have one simple, neat answer. And you know what? Maybe that's the whole point.
Let's boil it all down. What can we say for sure? Well, we know our very existence is completely woven into the fabric of space and time. We also know that the whole origin story hinges on how time itself could have just appeared. And that big question, is the universe a cosmic accident that started itself, or was it designed? That's the line where science and philosophy are still having one of the biggest debates of all time.
And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. It's a big one. Let's say science figures it all out. Let's say we prove, without a doubt, that the laws of physics are all you need to get a universe from a quantum vacuum. We're still left with one haunting question. Who or what wrote the laws? And that might just be the ultimate mystery.